Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear Dharma friends and devotees, first of all, I would like to wish and bless everyone to be well and happy by the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. We have got a rare chance of human life. We have to respect ourselves. At the same time, we have to find what happiness is. Dear Dhamma friends, all over the people, regardless of gender, color or religion, people are asking what happiness is. If I ask you this question, what should be your answer for that? You may say, happiness means having lots of money, and then we can fulfill our desires. Also, happiness means our family. When we meet with our loved ones, and then we are going to be happy. At the same time, some people would say, building a monastery house, having beautiful clothes, and using very expensive vehicles, so on. It's a happiness for us. People would say. When we think about the Buddha's teachings, what happiness is. Santutti paramandhanam. Greatest wealth is mental satisfaction. What does it mean? Mental satisfaction. You have to be satisfied mentally. That means with your thoughts, you have to be satisfied. How come? We are going to make satisfy ourselves. The Buddha said, you have to realize the difference between Sammuti and Paramattha. According to worldly conditions, Sammuti is there, that means conventional truth, is me. But when we talk about absolute truth or Paramattha Satya, if they are a permanent being or person, of course not. Conventionally, it's there. That means conventionally it's me. Conventionally, you are there. Or being is there. But absolutely, nothing to say permanent, my or mine. Things are existing. Nothing to say permanent, you are there. Just think about how many times we are going to do lots of things to keep this body clean, while brushing teeth, combing hair, washing our face and body. There are so many things people used to do to keep this body healthy. But still, when we get sick and old, we become helpless. We understand. So that's why conventionally it's me, but absolutely nothing to say my or mine. By knowing this truth, just act accordingly. See the world. That means open your eyes. see the world, but not to grasp by thinking it is permanent. What does it mean? Of course, being a virtuous person, work harder, study well, find jobs, make money, should be rightful, and then do your duties towards fellow beings, including your family members. All right. But any time everything collapses, nothing is permanent. Any time we may leave this world keeping everything behind. You don't want to cry, but to be mindful with the real nature of this nature. And then you are not going to cry. Also, you are not going to violate any precepts or rules. It could be societal, it could be religious, it could be your family rules. But still, you are going to be aware of this human nature or human world, and then you are going to act accordingly. Whatever the things you gain, you satisfy with that. Of course, you have to work harder. You have to do your best. Finally, as a result of that, you are ready to accept the outcome. And then you are happy. At the same time, we have to know, when we tackle with these worldly things, how come we are going to manage by ourselves by thinking everything should be under our control? If you don't have 100% control over my own body, how come I'm going to control over others or other things? Of course, we don't have 100% control. Conventionally, for a bit, we can do what we wish to have. But still, finally we have to end up with dissatisfaction. Sometimes there's unsatisfactory. So that's why. Therefore, when we think about what happiness is, that means the understanding of real nature of this world, gain and loss, blame and praise, happiness and unsatisfactory. Those are the things just we have to face for. By knowing the reality of this world, we have to act accordingly. I would like to ask another question. When you meet with someone, what would be happen? Every meeting ends in departure. Has sanyoga vyoganta. Every meetings end in departure. Think about your own, with your own family members. If you meet with your parents, children, wife, husband, brothers and sisters, so on, anytime we may leave each other. If you know, anytime we may leave each other, what we are supposed to do? You are not supposed to violate worldly bonds. You are not supposed to violate moral code. You are not supposed to harm or hurt, at least verbally and mentally. That means, by knowing, anytime we may leave each other, and then to respect each other. And then people would say, it's all right. I may leave any time, but I am happy. meeting with a person, meeting with such person, meeting with such a person like you. People used to say, if you can have that kind of words from your family members, what do you think about that? We may live any time, each other, but we are happy being with you because you respect me a lot. You did your moral duties to our family. And then I'm so happy being such a person like you, people would say. Otherwise, if we are not respecting each other, people say, even family members would say, why I met with such a person like you. I don't want to meet with a person like you even in my sansaric journey. I feel so sorry for myself because of your behavior, your evil action. I can't bear up because of your evil words and actions. Why I came to this world to suffer like this? Sometimes you may give or you may provide food, clothes, shelter, everything, but still I'm losing my happiness. I don't feel I'm having a life. People used to cry and ask. So, when you ask for happiness, see the real nature and then put into practice. I would like to talk about Saddha. When we practice Saddha, of course, it's easy to invite happiness into your own mind. What Saddha means? Saddha means generally faith. But we have to say Saddha means confidence. We have to be confident in the Buddha's teachings. When you recite Buddhaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, you have to be confident in the Buddha or in the Buddha's teachings. That means the Buddha fulfilled perfections, 10 perfections throughout of sansaric journey. While fulfilling these 10 perfections, Dana, Sila, Nikkamma, so on. Dana, generosity or offering. Sila, morality. Nikkamma, renunciation, so on. By fulfilling these 10 perfections, the Buddha discovered Four Noble Truths. There's a suffering in the world, like birth, sicknesses, old age, death, departing from loved ones, associating with unfriendly people, not getting what we want. In summary, these 5 aggregates are suffering. Panchupada dukkha. This whole life is suffering. What do you think? When we say whole life is suffering or unsatisfactory, what do you think? We are asking you to be inactive? Of course not. By knowing the real nature of this world, if we came to this world, we have to go through sicknesses, old age, and finally end up with death. And then, before dying, we have to fulfill our duties towards myself and others. So that's why I asked you at the beginning what happiness is. It's important. And then we clarified Real happiness is mental happiness. So mentally we have to be happy, but should be righteous. And then we know death may come to us any time. Therefore, before leaving this world, we have to be righteous. That means we have to do our moral duties towards myself and towards others as well. What kind of duties we have to introduce as moral duties? That means you have to be a kind person, Kalyana Mitra. You have to learn what the Buddha said. That means nothing is permanent. Conventional me, but absolutely nothing to save my own mind. By knowing this truth, for each moment, I have to be right. I have to make good thoughts within myself and then to put into practice when I associate with other people. You can start with your own family members, within your family. And then you know, any time we may leave this world. Though we are going to have a long life, maybe you may have a long life like 8 years old, 90 years old, 100 years old, period of your time. That means you may have a long life, but still, you have to go through sicknesses, old age, and then finally end up with death. When we become confident in the Buddha's teachings, we know that the real nature. The Buddha said, in our samsaric journey, more often we face with lots of evil things. As a result of that, we suffered for millions, billions lives. It's a hard thing. That means being a human. It's a very rare chance what we got being a human. But still, we have to go through suffering. If you are going to attach to the things by thinking it is permanent, somehow I have to get it. Also, I have to fulfill my thoughts, what I mind asks to have. At that time, we may violate rules. So that's why people are abusing the system. People are violating rules. People are breaking precepts. How many times we are talking about respect yourself and others. Respect this society. Being a human is so rare. If you are going to violate these rules, definitely you are going to reborn in one of hells after your death. Therefore, you have got a rare chance. Respect this life. Evaluate your chances. Having comparison with animal world, you can see the real nature, real things you may understand. And then you are not going to break any precepts. You are not going to follow any evil path. Of course, people may follow evil path, though they are having knowledge of what is right and what is not right, or what is right, what's not good things. But still, it's our duty. Being an example to others, just we have to say, you are not supposed to violate any evil rule, evil path. You are supposed to follow the pure path, what the Buddha said, because this rare chance is very important to yourself. When we create saddha, or when we become confident in the Buddha and Buddha's teachings, definitely we are going to follow eightfold path. We have to follow Ariya Attangika Magga, eightfold path. Can you remember? Samadhi, right understanding or right views. Samma sankappa, right concepts. Samma vacha, right speech. Samma kammanta, right action. Samma ajiva, right livelihood. Samma vayama, right effort. Samma sati, right mindfulness. And samma samadhi, right concentration. When we become confident in the Buddha, we are supposed to follow Eightfold Path. That's the way to Nibbana. It's the way to end of suffering. That's the way to find what happiness is. It's an eternal happiness. This is what we are going to talk about. When we talk about Sammaditthi, right understanding, Kammasakata Sammaditthi and Chatusacca Sammaditthi, there are two things just we have to realize. According to Kammasakata Sammaditthi, you have to accept the result of karma. If you are going to do bad things, just you have to face for the bad results. It depends on your own action. It depends on your mental action. Chetanaham bhikkhave kammang vadami. Kamma means volition. Therefore, intentionally, if you are going to act, it could be mental, it could be verbal, it could be physical. It's going to be a karma. Kammasakata Sammaditthi, if you have done something, some kind of action with pure mind, without greed, anger, and illusion, that means you are going to have wholesome actions or wholesome results, or kusala. If you are going to do any kind of mental, verbal, and physical actions with evil thoughts or evil mind, that means with very strong attachment or greed and aversion and delusion, that means you are going to act with polluted mind. Definitely, you have to face for the bad results of what you have done by yourself. That means Kammasakata Sammaditthi. You have to think. You have to know. Therefore, I have to refrain from doing evil actions. I have to follow good karma or mental, verbal, and physical actions. That means Kammasakata Sammaditthi. That's the view of right understanding. At the same time, Chatusacca Sammaditthi, you have to have views of dukkha, unsatisfactory, of this world or nature or lives. When we talk about dukkha, jatipi dukkha, birth is suffering. The birth is suffering. That means if you are not going to follow the teachings of the Buddha with understanding, nothing is permanent. Only thing is conventionally is me and permanent. But absolutely everything is impermanent. Nothing to save my own mind. With this understanding, we have to think, speak, and act. And then we don't want to have any kind of pains and sorrow or dukkha. If you don't have that kind of understanding about the real nature of this world, that means we are going to attach to the things, and then we are going to create lobha dosa moha, greed, aversion, and illusion. As a result of that, we are going to invite pains and sorrow or dukkha, not only within this life, but even after this life, we are going to suffer, being in bad realms. So that's why. Dukkha or not, suffering or not, it depends on your understanding. If you are going to follow illusion, that means you are going to invite suffering. If we are going to understand or realize, nothing is permanent. Only thing is conventional. Conventional is me, but absolutely, I don't want to attach to anything by thinking everything is permanent. I know everything is impermanent. Therefore, within this life, I have to continue my life. Of course, between parents and children, wife and husband, it's your story. Between parents and children, wife and husband, brothers and sisters, so on. You have to fulfill your duties. At the same time, you can do your, work and things. And then you can find money and then complete your things. All right. But when we talk about absolute truth, nothing is permanent. And then we are not going to think so to people by thinking it is permanent. That means we are going to purify our mind from attachment. At the same time, from detachment. Sometimes when we talk about detached, there are kind of angry feelings. I don't want to leave, I don't want to lose. That means sometimes you may have angry feelings. Therefore, it is crucial sometimes when we talk about attachment and detachment. Therefore, we have to say attachment and non-attachment. There's a kind of attachment. That means conventionally when you say, you are in my life or I'll be there all the time within family members. But we have trained-minded with impermanence and unsatisfactory and no self. That means non-attachment. Though we are using the words of attachment, at the same time we are practicing the understanding of no self. That means non-attachment. That means chatusacca samadhi, right views of the real nature of this life and samsaric journey. Just I have one subject to talk about, that means on samadhi, right understanding or right views. I started with the topic of how to find happiness, what real happiness is, according to the noble teachings of the Buddha. I explained just you have to know the three things, that means three characteristics of existence, which are anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanence, unsatisfactory, and no self. With these three characteristics of existence, we have to find happiness. It is crucial. Sometimes you may think, when we think about anicca and unsatisfactory, those words, is a kind of sorrowful feelings. What we are going to talk about? Of course not. When we become mindful about that, we know conventionally we have to do our best, being virtuous people. But absolutely, the real truth is, any time we may lose everything. Any time we may leave this world. Any time we have to detach. That's the real truth. That means we are going to comfort and console our mind and heart. That means santutti paramantanang. Understanding is the real happiness of this world. By the blessings of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, may you be well, happy, and peaceful. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu lokasasanang. Anumodana. May the triple gem bless with you.